I just got back from Cantleberry Convention where we screened episode 1 of the Q&N8. We had a Q&A about it. Thought you guys would like to see the highlights. Enjoy.
Where I answer your questions, and I'm Nate. Thank you. All right, well, let's start.
Hi. Yeah. Why now?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think one of the hardest things to do in life is to start, right? Like starting to exercise or to start, in this case, making videos. And I think the only thing harder than that is to start making videos or start exercising once you've already done it for a season and stopped. And that's kind of how I felt. It's like, man, like I made, 50 videos in 50 days and then, went off for a long time. So it's hard to get back into that rhythm. So even just, setting up the studio, I think we got a photo we could show of that. Yeah, there it is. It's like, it's not a lot, but just mentally getting back into that mindset where you're going to go back into the gym, or for me, come back into my gym and the studio and get things set up is really tough to overcome. So, I think that was the first difficult part.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Made up?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Did you make it up, or did you have a script for this?
So for this first one, I really just had the idea. I was like, okay, I know I wanted to do a Q&A, and I didn't have any cues. So I just kind of leaned into that, and I was like, well, we'll see what happens. And I think when you watch something like this, you don't realize, like, I don't have the sound effects playing in real time when I record, and I actually didn't even have them on my brain. The idea to use sound effects came to me when I was sitting in the silence. And on my review crew, I had sent 2 versions out, one with sound effects, one with silence. And the feedback was pretty strong to go with the sound effects. So I thought, we're coming out, first one in a while, let's lean into the silly.
Makes sense, thank you.
Okay, yeah, what else?
Who inspired you?
I'm sorry?
Who would you say inspired you?
Inspiration. Well, to me, that's always like a works-cited type question. It's like, who is responsible for what you ended up doing, So for me, first off, there's some Steve Martin from the Pink Panther movies. I love old Pink Panther. I also really like the new ones that he did. And just him kind of having a calm endurance and even like superior level of thinking while something totally wrong is going on kind of lets me get in that groove. And I think the other one, frankly, anytime you're doing a monologue, anytime you are speaking to a camera, it's hard to not tap into some type of Michael Scott, Steve Carell type feeling. He's just that funny. I think that show is that iconic, and that's always seated in there somewhere. So yeah, those would be it for me.
Outstanding. Thank you.
One more. Yes, sir.
Just what do you hope to see moving forward with these?
I hope that we have some questions in the future. That would kind of make a Q&A a little more interesting. But even if we don't, I'm sure we'll find a way to make it enjoyable. But it's been a privilege to make it even just this far. Making the one video has been pretty historic, and done a ton for my career and given me a ticket across the world to connect with people from other cultures who really just find value in it. So I'm delighted just to be here, and I really appreciate you guys having me. Thanks so much.
Thank you kindly.
One more time for our panelists.